Swadika, you're watching Business Frontier with Mirewadi Pasutniramon on TAN Network. In this edition of the show, we'll talk about the MICE industry, the industry of meeting, incentives, conventions and exhibition. Now, the MICE industry has long been the priorities of the past and present government. Policies have been introduced to make sure that Thailand is regarded as one of the best MICE destinations in Asia and perhaps the world as well. Joining us on location, we have Mr.Paul Kanjanapas, the Managing Director of Impact Mueang Thong Thani with us. Swadika, Mr.Paul. Now, welcome to Business Frontier. We talked a little earlier about the overall MICE industry in Thailand. I mean, it's a huge industry. How much is it worth per year?
I think, well, the number is actually quite huge. I won't even guess, even try to estimate, but I think it's somewhere in the range between 3 to 5 billion baht a year, somewhere around the region. Sometimes you don't really get the real figures because things goes in and out and changes all the time. But I think around 5 billion baht.
So the industry is defined by the abbreviation of the name, right? Meetings, incentives, conventions, and exhibitions. What are the key differences for the different subsegments of this industry?
Well, I think exhibitions is quite forward. It is what it is. As for the meetings, incentives, and conventions, then that becomes a little bit of overlapping. Incentives is quite clear. As a salesperson, you hit certain targets. The company gives you the
bonus,
trip, a bonus. That, and a lot of times they take you away to a different country, entertain you, let you enjoy, let you have a good time. So that's incentive. Whereas meetings and conventions, meetings tend to classify as smaller, with a smaller attendance, maybe 500 people onwards, maybe up to 1,000. But when you get up to a bigger scale, then we talk about conventions. Usually you have people coming all over the world. You have people coming to get together for over certain topics for several days. So that's convention.
So can I say that the convention and the exhibition part of MICE are the ones that are larger and involves a lot more attendance? Or it all depends?
Well, I guess it's a yes and no. Throughout the years, before exhibitions become something that the government talks about, meetings and conventions has been around for a long time. You can find them everywhere in the hotels along Sukhumvit. You can find them even in up countries, maybe in the Phuket and the Krabi's. So meetings and conventions, it's something that has been around for a long time. Exhibitions has only been around Thailand for the last 15 to 20 years. The first long time ago, exhibitions were conducted in car parks, in outdoor space, where there's no purpose-built exhibition centers around. The first one I would say will probably be the Queen Sirikit National Convention Center, but as the name suggests, that they were more gearing towards convention from the start. But that's actually probably, I would say, where the first proper exhibition space started in Thailand. And fast forward to now today, we have several exhibition centers in Thailand. Some are in the outer, some are outside of Bangkok, some are inside Bangkok. Some are small, some are big.
If we have to talk big picture, how would you say the MICE industry in Thailand is looking right now? I mean, how are we doing given what we have experienced throughout the past, 2 or 3 years with the various instabilities we have in the country and the world economic volatilities as well? How have we been?
Well, Thailand for a long time has been an ideal destination for holidays. Tourism has been around for so long, and our hospitality has been so well known throughout the time. So people always like to visit Thailand, and as a result, for the incentives and conventions and meetings, people have been capitalizing on that for a long time. So must be 20, 30 years by now, and and then comes the exhibitions where Some of them are locally organized, locally attended. Some of them are internationally attended, like the Gems and Jewelry Fair. You have hundreds and hundreds of buyers, or thousands of them coming all over the world. So for the last few years, Thailand has been regarded as one of the I would say the top 5 destinations in Asia for people to come for various reasons that related back to mice. So
we've been doing okay despite the negative risk factors that are present.
Well, yeah, we've been doing relatively well. There are always going to be challenges, whether it's a rising cost of materials, whether it's a political instability, whether there are world economic challenges. I guess there's never a time they say, oh, this is a great time, very smooth, everything is going well. So challenges are always there. It's just how we adjust, how we actually find opportunities amongst the challenges. The last few years has been difficult in terms of selling the country because people always say, what happens when they come to Bangkok? For example, the friends will start emailing or calling and say, I'm taking my family here. Is it going to be safe staying in Bangkok, or shall I avoid Bangkok and go to the beaches or the southern part of Thailand, etc., etc. So I would say yes and no. If you're only here for holidays, and if you still, Bangkok is not that dangerous. Maybe there were some demonstration in areas here and there. So if you know how to avoid it, where to avoid it, you're fine. And
if you watch TAN Network, we actually keep you updated on where it's safe and whether or not it's safe in Thailand and in Bangkok. And most of the time, it is. Now, if we talk mice industry, what determines the factor? What are the determining factors for demand for the mice industry? I mean, what generate demands for this, for meetings, exhibitions, conventions? Not so much incentives, because that's mostly originated from the companies themselves, right? What brings in business?
Well, I guess like all industries, we are running along the same chains. You have the buyers, who decide where to buy, and then you have the sellers who decide where they sell, and then there's the organizers who arranges everything. So I guess to make it very simple and straightforward is the organizers are the one who decide where they want to organize their shows, based on the fact that based on several factors. But most important of all, it's if they organize a show at certain location, would it be successful? How do you classify success? Whether the buyers will actually buy a lot from the sellers, and whether the sellers are happy. So it's almost like you're pleasing everyone. You're finding the right place so that everybody's happy, and I guess that's probably the key. We can always talk about the price factor, but then again, that is not the ultimate decision. That's not the ultimate decisive factor.
Right.
At the end of the day, you might want to pay a bit more, but then your success is there's a higher chance for success. So in here at Impact, we actually sell on the success factor. If you want the event to be successful, you want to come here, and then you can start listing the different advantages why you want the show to be here, etc., etc.
What do organizers look for when they search for a location?
They look at several things. They look at the locations, maybe downtown, maybe slightly out of town. They look at where the industries are. They look at where they can organize the event, where a lot of people can find easy to attend, or locations where it's easy for them to promote. Now, nobody wants to go to a place where nobody knows. So first of all, they will probably come to us based on the fact that they think that everybody knows Impact. Everybody organizes the events at Impact, so they should probably consider this as the first choice.
Right.
I hope. So
the accessibility and the awareness of the location. What else do they look for?
Well, they also look for the size, which is actually quite important, because everybody's looking for return on investment. For the organizer, they're looking at how much they will invest and how much they can have for a return.
Okay.
So when you're looking at the size, the bigger space that
more.
they can organize the event, the more exhibitors can come. When the more exhibitors comes, then most likely the buyers, there'll be more buyers coming along the way.
So is it safe to say that since Impact actually focus on, shall I say, guaranteeing the success of the event, of the...
Nobody can guarantee success, but how we promote, how we try to persuade ourselves and our clients is that we want to promote partnership. Our grand scheme right now is partnership for success. We want to be a partner. We want to take part of it to ensure that your event is successful. After all, if their success is not successful, very likely they will either not continue the event, or they'll probably look for somewhere else to continue the event. So,
go on.
So by ensuring the event to become successful this year, more likely we can ensure that they'll come back again next year.
Now, what's the repeat business like in the MICE industry? Do they come back every year, or?
Exhibitions tend to repeat itself annually or twice a year. At Impact, we have the jewelry fairs who organizes the trade fair 2 times a year. You have the motor shows and the motor expos where they organize once a year. So exhibitions tend to repeat annually, biannually, or sometimes like Olympics, maybe 4 times a year. But most likely they repeated annually. And conferences or conventions, some of them do, some of them don't. Some of them is a one-time thing, some of them is an annual thing. When you look at the MLM industries, the Amways, the Giverines, the Herbalives, the AM Stars, they have a series of meetings throughout the year, and they will continue to do that because it's the most effective way for them to communicate with their sellers and with their traders. So to make it simple, most of the exhibitions tend to repeat itself annually. A lot of the conventions and meetings do. Some of them rotate to different countries.
Right. Now, is it safe to say then the Impact Muang Thong Thani's formula for business is, since it's very large in size, you focus on the larger scale exhibitions and conventions, which means organizer can sell more space for exhibitors, and therefore when you have a large number of exhibitors coming, you generate more public awareness, as well as guaranteeing almost indirectly the success of the event.
Yes,
or that's
we do.
Too simple?
Yes, we do. Well, it's not that. It's not. It is quite simple. I mean, we run a simple business.
You do?
We do. We bring. We invite the customers in. If they like what we tell them, then they book the space, and we service them. We make sure that the organizers, the exhibitors, and the visitors, they're all happy. And going back to your question, not only do we target the big events, the small events, they do take place here. The beauty of what we have here is because we have quite a large space,